Hello, everyone. I am Omen Thomas Sade.
And I am Nick McGill.
Together, we are the Feckless Momes.
And this, my friends, is a very exciting drop for you today on Friday, January 10th?
That sounds right to me. Close enough. So, funny story. We have heard rumors for nigh on a year, I would say, about the potential for a brand new Jethro Tull album coming out in 2025. Lo and behold, a couple days ago, we got a wonderful little message from friend of the podcast, friend of Talk Tull to Me, James Duncan Anderson, who offered us a sneak peek at the new single from the album that is coming out on this very day. And so we have a little sneak peek of it.
That's right. Sweet baby James delivers again. Where are my batteries?
We're right here, James.
We're right here.
We are your batteries.
Yes. So we are going to listen to the title track off of the forthcoming album called Curious Ruminant. We have not seen it yet. That's as much as we've seen those clouds.
Yeah, correct.
That's it. Haven't heard anything of it.
This is a raw, fresh listen, so you can listen along with us. And Nick, is the title of the song Curious Ruminant, or is the title of the album Curious Ruminant?
Yes.
Both. Mm-hmm. Let's have a listen, and then we will discuss.
Brace yourselves. 6 minutes later. Mercy. Merciful.
Wow. Okay.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you. That was great.
Yeah, we have to go and change our trousers.
Wow.
So, obviously, this is our very first listen through. We will be doing a full dive when we talk about the album track by track. But Nick, initial thoughts?
This is my favorite Jethro Tull song from the last 20 years.
Is it really?
I think it might be.
I mean, that's holding it up against two quite powerful albums that we've had in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Zealot Gene and Rock Flute. And you like this more than either of them?
I think so.
Wow.
Okay. I wonder if it's... I don't know. It's weird. I was going to say, I wonder if it's the novelty of it being new, but generally for me, when it comes to new music, I have to work my way into it, not immediately be in love with it.
There's something very approachable about this, which is not typically a word that we use to talk about Jethro Tull.
Yeah, right.
But there's something, like the DNA test came back and it is Tull.
We've tested it, and
Jethro Tull was both the father and the mother of this track.
It's Ashkenazi Tull, actually.
That's right. But there is a little bit of a modern feel somehow. I think that it has to do with the mix. The mix is really lovely and warm. The guitar work is really like soaring and expressive for a lot of it, and then dropping into that, those intricate little weavings in and out.
I really like the guitar.
I really like the guitar.
I messaged James. I'm not sure if we'll get an answer while on air, but I asked him if it was indeed Jack on guitar.
Right, because it could be it could be either Jack or it could be the gentleman who played on Rock Flute.
Oh, JPJ?
It could be JPJ.
We
don't know. We don't know who it is.
Yeah, fair enough.
It could be anyone. It could have been me.
It might have been. You'll have to wait until the album drops.
I'll have to wait and see.
To see. You'll have to wait until JDA tells us that it was Omen to be sure.
I didn't catch all the lyrics, especially
no, I didn't. Yeah,
we're listening to it across kind of this platform right now. But I did catch some phrases that I was like, "Oh, that's our Ian."
That's Ian. Jung and Freud were very Ian to me.
Jung and Freud rhymed with psychodreaming asteroid.
Yes,
which I was like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't we all just sitting on this psychodreaming asteroid hurtling through space? The answer is yes.
Are we? Also, cogito ergo sum. We've heard a couple of instances of Latin in we're covering right now. Thick as a Brick too. We've heard a couple of instances there. but I just heard some Latin in this one too.
I'm so glad that you told me that that's what it was, because I heard coquito hamburger soup, which I was surprised by. I was like,
"What's a coquito?"
A coquito is a Puerto Rican Christmas drink that's made with rum. It's like eggnog, kind of. It's very rummy.
So a rum drink, a cheeseburger or hamburger? Was it a hamburger?
Yeah, I think I heard coquito hamburger soup. I was like, that's okay.
No, cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am.
Yes. We have some flute. We have some guitar, acoustic, played presumably by Ian.
Yep.
Gorgeously. I don't think he has ever sounded better on the flute. I mean,
So
it's
good. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, we start with, I just want to talk visually for a second. We start with a man on a park bench.
Yes, something that we've, a theme, kind of, especially as we've seen more of these music videos. We've seen that many times.
Yeah. Yeah. And he looks remarkably like Mr. Anderson.
We also have some spectacles.
Yes.
That
disembodied, right?
Some disembodied spectacles. Sometimes they're embodied spectacles. They're on a face. But that's something, thinking back to, what was the song? Wicked Windows. There seems to be a little bit of a later thematic relevance there.
Interesting. Okay.
We have a sleeper, a dreamer on a bed passing through a gate and emerging as a horned head.
Yeah. A lot of just single body part shots here and there. A lot of question marks. Which fit perfectly because of the curious ruminant. A ruminant is not only an even-toed ungulate mammal that chews the cud regurgitated from its rumen. The ruminants comprise the cattle, sheep, antelopes, deer, giraffes, and their relatives. But it's also a contemplative person to ruminate.
Well, and they come from the same thing, to say, "Oh, I'm just chewing the cud."
Yeah,
I guess
that means to just talk, right?
That means to talk.
Yeah,
but to ruminate is you sort of you take something in and then you
work it over and over.
Let it sit. Then you bring it back up and you chew it. You let it sit.
Yeah.
Much like some of the themes that we've seen,
Sure.
So I can see that in that sense, Ian is a bit of a ruminant.
He certainly has been over the last 50 years.
I heard the phrase "sit on the fence" or "sitting on the fence."
Oh, I missed that one.
Which Ian has described himself as a
professional fence sitter.
Yeah. We can also talk about the style of this music video.
Oh, yes, the art style, yeah.
It's all it looks hand-drawn pieces that are then animated separately. So it's almost like a collage. It reminds me of the old Monty Python.
Oh, sure.
Collage animations.
I feel like, was it Sad City Sisters or something from the last two albums had a very animated-y, drawn-y feel, but not full animated, kind of like this animation as well.
There have been a number. I don't know if it was Sad City Sisters. I feel like that was more actual shots of objects that were then manipulated. But maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah, but this is very trippy. It's very reminiscent to me. It's certain times. It's very reminiscent of the persistence of time. Dali's clocks wilting over branches and things.
Yeah. There's definitely and this. I mean, just the imagery and the lyrics of this song so far kind of seem to be talking about thought, perception, identity, what it all means, and how those things all bleed together.
Yeah, I see that, definitely. Yeah, the very dark sound, but also seems to have some hope behind it.
It's that classic. The Ian special of dark mixed with light in just the right proportions, that it doesn't. It's floral without getting too bitter.
Oh, very nice, like chartreuse. Omen,
Nick,
should we talk about Ian's voice?
Let's talk about Ian's voice. He sounds great.
Oh, it's so good. I've never heard him so low, and I love it.
Well, and we've talked about his voice in ad nauseum at this point.
Yes.
Obviously, he's an older gentleman now, and his voice has changed. In these later albums, he's able to.
His voice finally changed.
His voice finally dropped.
Congratulations, Lime. Mazel. There we go.
He's now writing for the voice that he has, of course.
Yes. Awesome.
And it's great. It sounds fun. It sounds mysterious. It sounds inviting. I think that's part of that's part of the listenability for me, is that his voice is well matched with the music.
Yeah.
And he's sort of asking you to come to him in a way.
Yeah, and that lowness and slowness adds to the mystery as well. I think the kind of uncertainty, I think, with the sound.
I feel like this is a slower tempo than somehow I would expect. I don't even know what that means. But I don't know why I would expect anything. But I was like, oh, this is a little bit slow. But that gives it room for detail.
And it's also 6 minutes long.
Right.
And that's the radio edit. They cut off 12 minutes.
Cut off 12 minutes. I mean, if this is indicative of what the full album is going to be like, I am excited.
I am not disappointed. I'm very much looking forward to more of this sound.
I think that if Rock Flute was an indication, we did have some tracks coming out around this time last year, and then we got the full album a couple months later.
Yeah,
I want to say April.
Oh, was it that early? Yeah, it might have been. April, May, somewhere around there. Yeah.
So hopefully we won't have too long to wait before we can hear this 350th album by Jethro Tull.
Yeah. I think the singles came pretty quickly on the tail of one another, and then there was like maybe a month before the actual album dropped, if I remember correctly. Could be very wrong.
There could be more singles. There could not be. I assume this will be sold in many different formats, including digital, vinyl. I'm sure we'll probably get our hands on some vinyl of this.
Sí.
El vinalo.
Sí.
So, anything else to talk about with Curious Ruminant? Ruminant.
Not remnant, not remnant, not revenant.
What's the difference between remnant and remnant?
Not Roomba. The difference between remnant and remnant is one is a word and one isn't.
But not.
I'll let you decide.
But never the same one. They trade.
Yes. Yeah. It depends on the state of the moon and the day of the week.
That's right. Until we have either new tracks or a new album to listen to, you can find us every single week on the podcast Talk Tull to Me, where, guess what? We talk nothing but Jethro Tull. Every single episode is dedicated to a single track in chronological order. Who let us do this? Why has no one stopped us? We can't answer those questions, but we can talk about the songs.
Our lawyers will not let us talk about those questions. Yeah, until then, see you next episode, friends.